Another breakdown for the Sixers in the second half. We've seen this before, right? Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show, presented by Bet365. More perfect than ever, never ordinary at Bet365. Along with Derek and Kyle, I'm Devon. Bree is here. She's the president of basketball operations. The first comment I see right at the top as I'm saying things to everybody, Glenn says, need a true point guard, Kyle. There it is. We're live from the Xfinity Lounge on this Friday, hanging out with you. We'll get to everything player of the game. We got a temperature check. We have a big takeaway as well a little bit later, but we got the main thing that we need to discuss right away, Kyle. And the main thing tonight, all too familiar through these 12 games for the Sixers, now a 7-5 mark on the season, the second half breakdown once again.
It gets no less infuriating to watch every time. The crime of it all tonight was you're ready to come out after that game and say, boy, what a nice adjustment by Nick Nurse in that third quarter. Some of it was his hand being forced by by Kelly Oubre's hyperextended knee. He suffers toward the end of the half. So there's going to be a change made there. But instead of just saying Quentin Grimes in for Oubre, he decides Trendon Watford's not playing well. Dominick Barlow brings something nice to the table in the first half. Let's bring him in, shift the vibes. He has talked a little bit about having two different lineups, first half starters, second half starters. And that looks like it's working amazingly, right? They got off to a 14-0 run. I think it ended up being like a 21-5 run, something like that to open the second half. They're up by 12 points. They're cruising. It looks like not only are they going to win, they're going to push those margins up for the NBA Cup, maybe give themselves a chance to go to Las Vegas, and then they just completely fall apart again. And I don't know if this is the consensus take or how everyone feels about this game. I am massively disappointed with that Tyrese Maxey performance. I thought, obviously, in the fourth quarter, he's able to get it rolling a little bit, and he's trying to pull them back in the game as a scorer. I thought their situational basketball was poor the whole night, and he was a big part of that. The 2-for-1s at the end of quarters where he just was not thinking right? Like, it's one thing to go for a 2-for-1 because I understand the math. You get 2 possessions, they get 1. You can score more than the other team. It's very basic logic. But he's forcing those opportunities. When they're not there, you don't want to take a 15-foot runner that comes off the other side of the glass and the rim and leads to an open layup on the other end of the floor. And then the worst part about that was you smoke the 2-for-1, you give them a basket, you come back down and score, but you didn't use the entire clock. And so the Pistons at the end of the third, I know it's a half-court prayer, but you've still left them enough time on the clock that they have that chance to hit the 3 at the end of the quarter. So I thought he managed those situations poorly tonight. I think he, despite the fact that Asar Thompson is out, Duren is not there as the rim protection on the back end if he can beat the initial coverage. He has really struggled with the way Detroit has played defense. They play a switch-heavy scheme. They did so again tonight in spite of the fact that they don't have as many 6'8", rangy athletes out there as normal. And the final box score ends up looking fine. I did not like how he played. It's a lot of those possessions that we saw last year where the three-point shot's not there, and that's fine. But then he settles for way too many long runners, doesn't get all the way to the rim. He's not making slash and kick plays, so the assists are down. The quality of your average three-point shot is down. You're not getting your bigs as involved as they need to be. I know that you look at the page and it's like, hey, he had 31, 7, 3, and 4 steals. And I do think the defense in the second half was a big part of why they're able to push out to that lead. But I just thought their offensive process was bad. I put a lot of that on him. I put a lot of that on Nick Nurse, too. I think we talked, Devon, on the postgame show earlier this week about why are these third quarters such a mess for them in general. And one of the things I keep coming back to is they stopped running offense in the third quarter a lot of the time. There's no flow. There's no movement. There's no urgency. There are a lot of these possessions where instead of in the first half where you're playing with pace, you're playing with tempo, whether that's on fast breaks, in the half court, you're just playing at a snail's pace. And right now, you can't point the finger at Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has been the guy that when they play slow, you always get to say, well, Joel succeeds in that style. He likes to play slow. They're wasting 16 seconds of the shot clock for a Maxey clear out and then asking him to create something. Set some more screens. Use some more off-ball movement. Like, set a pin down for somebody. VJ Edgecombe in the first half hits this beautiful movement three in the corner. They had him shooting pull-up jumpers early in the shot clock. They're running things and being purposeful about their offense for the first 24 minutes of the game. And I don't know where that goes in the second half. I don't understand. We're at the point now where these guys, especially the three guards, right? Maxey, Grimes, and Edgecombe, they've played together enough that they should be able to fall into, we got 5-6 pet plays that we're going to go to, that we can go get a look, get a bucket, and feel comfortable with that. They just stop running almost anything. And I don't get it. I know that the switch everything style junks them up a little bit because you're just meeting a wall every time you turn a corner. They got to find ways to manufacture offense against that type of scheme. It looks like they're going to have to go through this Detroit team if they want to make any noise in the playoffs this year, because they are very, very good, and they've had no answers for how to score on them on a consistent basis.
The one thing, Derek, I'm going to jump in here on this one, because the one thing I said to you guys as we were watching, this was before the third quarter when they took that lead and they had that really good run that we haven't really seen all season in that quarter, was why does Detroit's offense, with all of these backups out there on the floor, why does their flow of offense look way better than the Sixers, where they have a majority of their starters? And even though you are out without, at that time, of course, Joel Embiid not starting and Dominick Barlow coming off the bench, who has been a usual starter, but Trendon, Watford, and Andre Drummond have started enough where you have seen they seem like strangers out there on the floor, where the other guys opposite, again, are backups, and they look like everything is just running seamless. They didn't always score, but it just looked more fluid than it did for the Sixers. And that continues to bother me when, yes, and I know in the past where we've talked about, we give Rivers credit when he was coaching the Sixers because he would always coach up when those guys were down big-name players and they were shorthanded with a lot of guys. And maybe that is the case also here with Bickerstaff. But it's also the culture that he has built, the identity that they have, where anybody could step in right now, and it looks like they are not skipping a beat. I'm not saying that any Jenkins is Cade Cunningham and Paul Reed or Stewart or Duran. I'm not saying that, but it just looks so much smoother out there for them. And then the collective defense that they have, which they have put on display all season long, again, their identity, it just looks like that's their brand of basketball, where we run into this issue of the Sixers that has Maxey and Edgecombe and Oubre, and then the other two, whoever it may be in the starting lineup. Yes, they're in and out of the lineup, but they are regulars. Why does this continue to happen where it doesn't look as, again, smooth as it does for a team like Detroit, who has now won 9 in a row, and they have won 2 straight games with their backups playing the entire game?
Yeah, look, I think a couple things. First of all, I think it's real easy for, it's going to be easy for, Kyle joked at the start of the show about there was somebody in there like, oh, he could have used a real point guard today or something to that effect. And it's easy to, I think, overreact in games or after games. I do think at some point you have to take a step back and look at the whole picture. And I think for the most part, 7-5, that's like a 45, 48 win pace, something like that. Haven't gotten to the tough part of the schedule, but you also haven't gotten your big guns in the lineup for most of the games. I think overall, Tyrese Maxey has played excellent basketball. So when he has a down game, particularly against a matchup, like Kyle said, that's going to switch a lot, maybe draw him into some of his worst tendencies, you can acknowledge the bad game while also acknowledging that, you don't have to overreact. You can look at the big picture. And I think I think what Kyle said was 100% right. The first half, I think he was pretty bad. And even overall, he had a great fourth quarter, was pretty much our entire offense down the stretch, which again is part of our complaint. Not so much for him, but for Nurse and how he runs his offense. But he, even like Kyle said, the stats ended up looking okay. Well, he ended up with 31 shots for 31 points, as many assists as turnovers. I think he only had 3 free throw attempts to 11 3-point attempts. Everything that Kyle was talking about there, settling for runners, 3-point shot not going in, some decision-making problems, I think, show up in that stat sheet when you look beyond the points, rebounds, and assists. And it was a disappointing game for Tyrese. Even with that stretch in the fourth quarter, overall, I think he was not good enough for most of this game. I just take a step back, and you don't have to, this is proof that they can never win with him, and the point guard is not good enough. Like, I get it. It's a game. We all want to react to the game. But
I'm
I do think
definitely not saying that.
No, I'm saying people.
No.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of
I don't
parity.
care about all
Yeah.
that stuff. I'm saying that's a horrible game. And
Oh,
we
no.
can call it a horrible game.
It was a very disappointing, horrible game. And I think it was disappointing on both ends of the floor, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point as well. Even in the third quarter, when they dropped 36 points, won only their second third quarter all year, a lot of it was they were forcing turnovers. They were getting out in transition. They didn't have to confine themselves to the half court because even, throughout the majority of the night, I do agree the half court offense was stale. There wasn't a lot of movement. It was a lot of, try to get the matchup you want in attack. And for the most part, they weren't all that successful at it. So it was a disappointing loss. It was, at least they changed the script a little bit, and the second half collapse was different. You had the best fourth quarter team in the league only scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. It's almost like a lot of those quarter things are random and we overreact to them. But yeah, look, I think this showed some of your concerns. I would say the concerns are born more out of Nick Nurse and his style of play than they are of Tyrese Maxey right now. But I think they do bring up some of those concerns.
How so? With the Nurse piece?
You mentioned Detroit playing with backups had an identity, and the Sixers playing with a lot of their core players were playing a lot of iso ball.
And you had the momentum, and you had things going, and it stopped looking the same where you can still run a little bit. Yes, you were down a player in Kelly Oubre, but you still need to get out and continue to allow.
It's
that
not like
to
Kelly
happen.
with the way he's playing was saving the offense tonight.
No,
He might
I
have
mean,
helped get you out
defensively.
in transition a little bit.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So what I'll say about the Maxey piece about the point guard stuff, he's fine as a lead guard. The issue that I did have tonight was when things were a little out of control, he was part of it. And that's when the point guard needs to settle things down. He is now, even if the coach is not doing the right thing or calling the right thing or the identity is not being set, he is supposed to be the stabilizing factor out there on the floor. He was not. He cannot look to VJ Edgecombe to be that player. He should not look to Quentin Grimes to be that player. That is his job to do that. And when you do see him, to Kyle's point of clock management at the end of a quarter, he needs to do that and be better. We know that he identifies and recognizes the 2-for-1 opportunity, but there's a second part of that. If it's too far, you don't do it. And then you get back when there's 10 seconds left and you just play solid defense to close out that quarter. That's a big part of the point guard, making sure that he is leading everybody in that regard. He did not do that, and he needed to do that tonight. There was another play in the second half where we saw it, and we called it out in a moment. He had a nice breakdown where he got to the paint. Got to the painted area right around the semicircle right there, about 13 feet away from the basket. There was a great kick-out opportunity for him to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit to VJ Edgecombe on his right wing. Not in the corner, on the right wing. He did not pass it to him. Edgecombe got it about 4 or 5 seconds later, which was a much tougher contested shot. If the point guard, Tyrese Maxey, had gotten him the ball in rhythm, maybe you get a better look right there on that shot. So again, Maxey is a fine enough lead guard on this team. But there are going to be moments where we point out in the moment and react, I think, fairly, where he needs to stabilize things as the all-star, the all-NBA player that we're talking about this season. When there is no George Embiid out there on the floor, it's his team. He is running things, and he needs to do that we've seen him do it. And that's where the frustration comes in sometimes where, all right, you got to do it again here. Now he takes the shot. It's not a good shot. He makes it, and we are still like, hey, you made it. Next time, don't take that shot because you probably don't need to. You bail your team out. But that's where I think he just needs to be that stabilizing factor out there for all of those other people who are the ones who are more scattered out there on the floor and trying to figure it out. VJ Edgecombe is still processing a lot. We know about when Quentin Grimes can close out games, but he can also 150 miles and running, and then he's a little out of control. Then you got Andre Drummond out there. Dominick Barlow is just getting back, and that's not his role. That's where he needs to set things up. Lastly, the one problem with that is that when their defense is as good as it is Detroit, and they are not running really good sets, The issue is he knows that he has to try to play some hero opportunity out there, because when they are trying to run some things, there's some really hard closeouts on those screens. They're fighting through those picks. And where else is he going to pass the ball? But he has to trust his teammates in order to get some good looks, good opportunities, get back on defense where you're not giving up those transition buckets like we've seen all season.
Look, to me, it's this simple. We're talking about Maxey as a potential all-NBA guy. Mentioned the other day, can he be like a fringe MVP candidate, all this stuff. If you get all the credit for when they win and when they play well and when you play well, when you don't play well, when you shoot 13 for 31, when you have as many turnovers as you have assists and your in-game decision-making is bad, you wear the most amount of responsibility for the players on the floor. I 100% agree with the sentiment that Nick Nurse did not put them in the best positions to succeed in that second half. I think they clearly, there's another thing going on here where they can't figure out some of these lineups because Adem Bona has sucked, and so they're playing small ball. Like Drummond comes off the floor tonight, and it's like, what the hell are you going to do? Adem is -9 in 9 minutes, so you try to play small ball with Barlow and Walker at the start of the fourth quarter, which I can't imagine Nick Nurse coming into the night, even though I was like, hey, I wonder if they play small ball. Playing Barlow and Walker together, I don't think that was in the cards if Kelly Oubre doesn't get hurt. So there's some other weird stuff going on. But I go back to what you're saying, Devon, about being the lead guard of a team. When people say the words point guard, it is like the coach on the floor, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So when they get sped up or when they're not playing fast enough, he has to identify those things. This is not second year, rookie year, third year Maxey learning on the fly how to be this guy. This is someone who's seen every coverage there is to see as the number 1, number 2, number 3 option. He's played high-stakes playoff games. He's played against much better teams and much better rosters than the Pistons had available tonight. They out-executed him, and they out-executed the Sixers, and the Pistons get their deserved credit for how they're playing as a team. The fact that they showed up the way they did and defended tonight is a real testament to the culture that they're building there. But I expect more out of him. I expect better decision-making from a 6th-year guard who people want to be all-star, all-NBA, all-everything this year. That's not to say he's the only reason they lost. We're going to get to all the reasons they lost. Quentin Grimes and Oubre getting hurt and VJ's inside-the-arc decision-making. There's a lot of stuff that went wrong. He's the top of the list for me. So that's heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's just how it goes.
And we saw some leadership in the game that, what was the last game that they played? Was it Boston? Where Andre Drummond threw the ball at, who was that? Somebody on the Celtics. I don't know who it was. I can't remember. But Maxey, as a leader, came over and was like,
"Oh,
yo,
it was not Jordan Walsh. It might have been Minot.
Or it was Walsh. It was Walsh. It was actually Walsh.
Okay.
And he went over and he said, yo, man, that's a free point that we cannot give up to this team. That's a good team that we play close with all the time. That's leadership. The way that he has played all season has been the leadership of carrying this team to, as Derek pointed out, a 7-5 record through 12 is pretty darn good. It's just how it happens, where we have to point out the little things in the 82-game season when there's a game like this where there's a continuous trend that they have of this third quarter or now just the second half, where you need your leader to step up and try to put out the fire a little bit as best as possible. And unfortunately, tonight he was part of it. You see leadership in a lot of different ways. That also goes into, hey, let's slow this thing down. Let's regroup. Let's gather ourselves here and close this out the way that we know how to. When we come back, we'll get into more. We'll get to a temperature check on someone on this basketball team that we have to talk about heating up or cooling off. We'll get to that on the other side. Much, much more on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Sixers fall in NBA Cup game number 2 to the Pistons, 114-105. No Vegas trip for me and Derek here for this visit in
Does that
December.
imply Kyle has a Vegas trip coming up?
He might have a trip.
No, it implies I have another trip that I won't be here
true.
for the Cup for.
That's true. We'll come back. We'll reevaluate it all right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. And we are presented by Bet365, everybody. Think I got another one. Pretty good run here, Derek. Got another one
Gambling
with the
Gibbons.
3 assists from VJ Edgecombe, all in the second half, by the way. Had me sweating a little bit. Maxey with the 7+ points in the first quarter. We got it right. And if you were able to tell that during the pregame as part of Bet365, that means you're one of the 90 million users worldwide, like I am, like Bree is, like all of you who are in, but the ones who are not, you got to check on in. And you know I used that 50% profit boost that was available to me on this Friday night. Yes, and if you want to also partake in these as we go forward in the season, breaking news from Bet365. All new customers, you get $300 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up now. Use code PHLY365. When you do sign up, deposit 10, place a bet for $5 to get $300 in bonus bets, win or lose. Use code PHLY365. They can be used also, the bonus bets, for spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, the last thing you want to do, well, maybe not tonight, maybe a little lagging in tonight's broadcast would have helped, but for the on balance, you want a really, really good TV stream. You don't want to get there and it be lagging or buffering or whatnot, because if you're a basketball fan, you have to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination where you can find the best games and your favorite teams all in one place, and the way that you watch is next level. Got all the action right in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K. It's so clear that it feels like you're in the arena. Top of that, you get real-time notifications and live stats right on your TV. It's best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show presented by Bet365. It's time for our Ace Hardware Home Services Temperature Check, where we evaluate a player heating up or cooling off. And I know we talked about one. I think we need a dual heating up, cooling off. Let's do a heating up for one player and a cooling off. And that's with Ace Hardware's temperature check. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started.
Changes on the fly.
On your next project. I'm point guarding here. I'm dishing.
Controlling the tempo.
I'm controlling the tempo because we are already 23 minutes in. We got to get all these conversations in about these players. Heating up, VJ Edgecombe. Nice game to come back to where we saw him, especially in the first half.
Nice from three, anyway. Inside the arc, boy.
Yeah, that part. And then the cooling off, you mentioned him already, Adem, Bona. We got to talk about both of them in this segment here. So, Derek, let's start with the Edgecombe, with the night that he had tonight. As you said, got off to a really good start, especially in the from behind the arc, 4 for 8 overall, 18 points, 7 boards. Inside the arc, not so much, as he shot overall 6 for 15. But
1 for 7 inside the arc for anyone who can do the basic math at home. That's a tough night.
It's 2 for 7 if we're gonna make jokes about basic math.
He was 6?
Yeah.
I thought he was 5.
He was 6 for 15.
Okay, 6 for 15. I thought he was 5 for 15. That's why.
The one we were like, oh. Again, they have a big lead. He tries to dunk on somebody. It was in the flow of the game.
He had a dunk attempt where he had like a 2% chance of converting it.
This
like the expected value on that dunk
Michael
was
Jordan
really
Space
low.
Jam extension, and it didn't work. But
he would have had to throw the ball in. That was not going to be a dunk.
I don't even think he would have made it if there wasn't a defender there. His takeoff point was just way too far away.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the shooting was great.
He's just shooting up, guys. Come on, stay on point.
He's the one heating up.
He's the heating up.
No, I thought it was real great the way he came out. He made a catch and shoot 3 early, and then he made an off the dribble 3 going to his left, and then he made a movement 3 off of a screen. Kyle pointed out while we were watching, it looked like a little bit of what he was doing at Baylor. And then all of a sudden, like, he's taking every open 3 he gets. He wasn't hesitating at all. And I really love the fact that once he sees that ball go in the ocean, he is, or in the basket, he is, all of a sudden just taking everything he can. It was a really good reminder of there's going to be ups and downs, especially with that 3-point shot, but he has the mentality, keep taking it, to push through it. I loved what we saw, especially from the perimeter on him. Now, I think there were a couple of layup attempts where, besides the dunk attempt, which he just shouldn't have tried. He's got to.
And that was a 5-point swing. That's a play where he misses that, and they immediately get a transition 3.
Yep.
he seems like he is going way more for the poster than he is for the points. And some of these, he's just got to dial it back and know when he's not going to convert it.
That was a Euro step if he was going to pick up the ball there.
Yeah.
If not, take one more dribble.
But some of these layup attempts are just like, he's got to start converting at a higher level. Like, we're starting to see a little bit of the lack of touch that we saw at Baylor, some of the approach that needs to change. He does seem like there is a learning curve on a lot of these attempts as he ramps up in competition and speed and quickness of the game. I think he'll get there. Like, I'm still confident in his ability to improve as a finisher inside, but we're just seeing like there is going to be ups and downs throughout the course of the season and probably even the early parts of his career because there is a little bit of an adjustment to it. But just the 3-point shot combined with, the activity. This defense I don't think was perfect tonight, but the activity was there. The activity is pretty much always there and the effort's always there. But coming out there, if he can continue to aggressively take those shots and show the little bit of shot diversity that he showed early on, that will do wonders for him down the road.
I will say he got hosed on the one travel call that should have been. That was a made layup.
I agree.
And it's one of those that was gather, hop step into the layup. They never call that a travel. They never call that. For whatever reason, they've called him on, Devon, you pointed out in the middle of the game, they've called him on a couple of those already this season. Whether it is or isn't a travel by the book, it's not something that is called in today's NBA very often. So it's always frustrating when all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's make a point of it. That's actually a travel, but it's not a travel for other players. So that was good footwork, good finish at the rim, all that, and that gets wiped off the board. But yeah, obviously the finishing is a problem. We talked about the pickup points coming into the draft process, talked about the inability to finish at the rim at times where he's trying to dunk all over people when one more dribble, get to the rim, take an easier shot, or even if you don't take the shot, recycle the offense, find the open shooter because teams are collapsing on him in the paint. When he gets to the paint, there's 2 and 3 bodies that they're showing him. We need to see a little bit more of the playmaking craft from him. But by and large, I'm happy.
Get to the free throw line.
Of course, the free throw line. The free throws got him going tonight. He hits 2 free throws early in the game, then the 3, then 2 more, and it's like, all right, he's off to the races. I was disappointed he didn't translate it into the inside the arc stuff, but still makes an impact as a rebounder, had a few assists, so we hit the Gambling Givens parlay of the night. I was just glad to see the shots go down on the type of shots that he took.
Yeah.
And even though he missed a couple, and they weren't particularly close misses either, I liked that once he got rolling, it was I'm going to keep shooting because that's the mentality he's going to have to play with if he's going to go from, hey, this is a fun rookie to foundational type player in the future.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the Bona piece of it because that's an experience that he does this where he has a few plays where he grabs the rebounds, Derek, right, with 2 hands, snatches one with one hand.
Very first play that he made, I'm pretty sure.
And he gets a nice block that leads to, he keeps the ball in play, even though Detroit recovered it. But he's doing those things. But in 9 minutes and 15 seconds, he had a nice putback dunk as he crashed the glass. But 5 boards. But even with that, as you said, looking at the stat line, the 9 minutes, it just wasn't. It just didn't do anything for you while you're out there watching.
It felt like he was out of position all night.
Again.
All night, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You know who else I want to add to this temperature check cooling down? Trendon Watford.
Yeah.
Boy, he stunk it up tonight. And you correctly pointed out in real time, Devon, there was a play that Bona fouled. I don't remember who it was on the drive. Scores at the rim. It's an N1. And Bona picks up the foul, but it was one where you were like, that's on Trendon.
Got to cut the baseline.
And I totally agreed because normally we're all on Adem for he's got to stop fouling. If he's going to foul, he's got to get more money for his fouls. But Watford gives up the baseline to a driver for no reason. It's like your job there is take the baseline, funnel him toward the middle, and that's when somebody like Adem or even your help from the middle, wherever, can come in and save you if you do get beat off the dribble. So he was bad defensively. He didn't make up for it offensively. Now, granted, he only played like 14 minutes. But again, between him and Bona, that's 2 guys that you're relying on in the front court. They give you 23 combined minutes, and they were horrendous. They were minus 24 combined. I thought you felt that too. Those were minutes that every second those guys were on the floor, you're just dying for Andre Drummond and Barlow and other guys to get back on the floor. So cooling off for both those guys for me, but I certainly think it's fair to start with Adem because he has cooled off the whole year.
Yeah,
There's been like one moment, the Washington game at the end of the game, and aside from that, it's been a whole lot of disappointment.
And even that Washington game, it was pretty rough up until the last 5 minutes.
Yes, it was really just the final minutes of the game.
Janai Broome, man. Second
round
pick.
Honestly feel like they might have to give him a shot.
Second round pick. In the one game that he played, 12 points. I believe he had, he was 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block in his minutes for the Blue Coats. And it was all, of course, about Jared McCain. But it's also important for him. He needs some run. Outside of the practices, the practices that they may have, he gets that opportunity. He does the stuff, travel with the team, get with the development coaches and all. But he needs some run too. And I don't know when they may decide, especially now that Barlow is back, you can maybe help have somebody like that next to him when he's out there on the floor as well, with the 3 scorers being at the 3, 2, and the 1. But, I mean, this Bona thing is driving everybody crazy right now. And I would not be opposed to a couple of minutes for Janai Broome situationally.
And that's even with all of us being like, I don't really get that pick in the first place. That tells you a lot about how we feel about Bona at this moment in time.
That's our Ace Hardware temperature check. Heating up. VJ Edgecombe, keep it going, man. Keep it going. Got off Sunday. Clippers on Monday. Get back to it. Saturday and Sunday off. Get back to it. Cooling off. Both Adem Bona and Trendon Watford. That's the Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. When we get back, we got to give you the player of the game as well. The big takeaway also from this game, that's also going to be important. I've seen people mention it already in the chat. So we'll get to all of that when we get back. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show. 0-2 in the NBA Cup for your Philadelphia 76ers. Tough loss once again tonight.
Guys, I hate to say it again, but boy, it's a night where you're really looking for Crooked T to get you through that game because it was stressful. It was disappointing. Like, I got to have something good in my life here.
I got to post the hat.
After that catastrophe, as I'm coming down from that awful second half collapse, here's the best part about Crooked T, everybody. While the rest of the competition is hiding what's inside, Crooked T is bragging about it. Crooked T brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with 0 sugar. No fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. They don't have fourth quarter or third quarter collapses. It's all gas, no brakes for Crooked Tea. Next time you're at the store, I want you to flip around the cans on your favorite hard tea. You can't find the ingredients unless it's a Crooked Tea, where you get 0 sugar, real tea, fully transparent. Real recognizes real. Don't drink the fake stuff. Drink Crooked Tea. The only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store near you.
And we have these late nights. We're back at it. We're in fall. It always feels like a reset between back to school, busier nights at work, routines, shorter days, all of that, late games that we have here. And every time we leave here, everybody, we're like, man, I'm hungry. I need some food. But that's where Factor Meal Kits comes into play. That's why I love them. They're chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals. Make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. Even not just for me, but my kids like it as well. Now that we've had a chance to have some Factor meal kits delivered to the house, more variety, more meals. I've gone with already the chicken with the vegetables, or the salmon that's always also been delivered, the sausage and peppers and sausage. I've gotten that one in there as well. Had to mix it up a little bit.
I got more exotic options than Devon. I'm eating the African curry.
There you go.
I'm eating shredded chicken bowls. I'm having all kinds of crazy stuff.
But
great stuff.
We haven't, and for the first time, try some Asian-inspired meals with both flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. For more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference no matter your routine. Make sure you get in there. If I needed this product, right? If you needed this product, I do it with us, and that's with Factor. So make sure, eat smart at factormeals.com/PHLY, 50 off, and use code PHLY 50 off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code PHLY 50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus breakfast, free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
Devon, I am not kidding. I tried a bunch of different stuff from Factor this time because we've had Factor as a partner of ours for a while. So you go through like I'll do like spaghetti and meatballs and the easy stuff first. I went real wild. I went exotic with the options this time. All hits for me. So shout out to our friends at Factor.
No, if I'm going to get a service that's basically going to tell me exactly what to do, like help me expand my horizons. I would never go with the spaghetti and meatballs.
Derek's calling me out, everybody, because he knows I'm
Mr.
going
Plain
with what I
Jane
like.
in the middle there.
I'm going with what I like.
But look, in all honesty, like that's one of the things I love about these meal kits. Like I'm real bad at like I learn a couple things and I do them over and over and over again because I'm confident in it. Like help me expand my horizons.
Yeah. I'll talk to him about it. And I'll tell him, you know what? That chicken breast that I had was pretty darn good. It was pretty darn good with those vegetables that I had. We're back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Sixers fall. They're 7-5 now on the season. And before we get to the player of the game, though, Kyle, if I said, as Derek mentioned earlier, if I said it's 12 games, 7-5, what would you say?
Slightly disappointed based on the hot start that they got off to and the fact that a couple of these losses were very winnable.
It's been a super easy schedule.
Yeah.
Super easy.
I think you should probably be 3-0 against the Boston Celtics. That's a 1-point loss in the cup. Okay, whatever. It's a crunch time loss. You probably won some coin flip games that you shouldn't have, whatever. So you lose that game. The Bulls collapse is absolutely infuriating. There's no reason you should have lost that game. We beat that topic to death that night about how disappointed we were in the offensive process. And then tonight, this is a bad loss. This is a game that we said, well, I don't believe in the whole must-win thing when it's November and there's so many games. If you would have told me the script of that game, I would have said you can't lose that one. You can't play a third quarter where you comfortably outscore them.
25, yeah.
And they're shorthanded, missing so many guys. And look, I get it. I know who was missing, and we're going to talk about those guys very shortly, I think. But that's a game you have to have. So 7-5 coming into the year, not knowing anything about health and VJ and a bunch of other things, I probably would have taken. Now that we've seen it,
exactly,
I'm disappointed in the 7-5.
7-5 probably feels like about one game off of where you'd be happy from. Like 8-4, I think you'd be sitting here like that's a darn good start to the year.
I agree.
I agree that like, and it's sort of like what I was talking about with Maxey earlier. Like this game was infuriating, but it's not like disqualifying. Like it's the kind of thing that happens throughout the course of the season. It shouldn't, it does, but you do look at it and there's just some games that they have thrown away. And even if the 7-5 is a good start, when you get to the end of the year, you're going to look back on some of these games like the Chicago one, like this one here tonight, and go like, you really should have won that one. Like if you just executed and played up to your potential, you should have come away with that win. And it's infuriating to watch in real time, and that gets frustrating at the end of the year because there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda that goes into it. It is, like I said, I don't necessarily think I expected a lot more out of this group. Like I said, was a real easy schedule to start the year, but you are missing a lot of minutes from Embiid, from Paul George, from Jared McCain, who really hasn't even started playing basketball yet. I know a lot of people don't expect a whole lot out of those first two, but even still, like we're 12 games in, you haven't seen Paul George on the floor yet. I think that's less than we were expecting. So solid by the numbers. It's sort of like Maxey's game, solid by the numbers, but when you dig into it, there's a lot to be frustrated by.
No, it really is. And you guys know that I'm big on how it happens. And the way that these games have gone, we all are, but I just, the way that these games have gone, getting down big in those first 5 games, having to come back in all of those, I think it's probably right around where they should be, 7-5, 8-4, because we can look at, this time you had a big lead against Detroit and Chicago, and you probably should have won those games. So I would say 8-4 feels more about right with where they should be. 7-5, as the guys pointed out, a little disappointing. All right, you know what? We are going to do our big takeaway. Let's take our last break so we can spend more time on the big takeaway and the player of the game. and the super chats that we have on this Friday night. Sixers lose 114-105. Another disappointing ending to the game. But here we are talking about it. We appreciate you all hanging out with us on this Friday night. As we do so, stay with us as we come back right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
Guys, I don't know how many times I've told you about Game Time and what a great service they offer. Feels like hundreds, at least dozens at this point. We do so many shows. It all blends together. So you should already know how awesome the Game Time experience is. It's allowed us to see wonderful concerts at the Sphere in Las Vegas. There have been great deals for Sixers tickets that I've told you about leading into the season where I said, look, a couple of days from now, you can go see the Sixers for like $8. They have provided a lot more than $8 worth of entertainment every single game, including during these frustrating losses, right? That was $8 worth of entertainment at a game. I don't know about all the concessions and whatnot, but that's not Game Time's purview. What they do is they get you in the building for the best possible price. That is the Game Time guarantee. And by the way, before you buy the tickets, you see all the fees up front so you know what you're getting into. You get panoramic seat views within the app so you can see exactly what that view looks like for your dollar. Everybody works hard. The economy's taking money from you. You got to figure out how to spend it wisely. Game Time is here to help you out. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, Devon?
Game time!
I have some thoughts on how you ended that ad read, but I value my job, so I'll keep them to myself. We also want to make sure we tell you about Ace Hardware, because when the weather turns chilly, and boy, has it been chilly these last few days.
Like Trendon Watford.
The last thing you need, cooling down. The last thing you need is a home project piling up. Ace Hardware Home Services brings trusted local pros right to your door to help you get your home ready for the colder months. From heating tune-ups and plumbing fixes to generators and emergency repairs, their experts handle it all. No guesswork, no stress, just a local pro to get the job done right, satisfaction guaranteed. Find the help you need for your next home project at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Let's get to the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. Yes, we are coming to you from the Xfinity Lounge. Make sure you visit xfinity.com. All right, big takeaway. Joel Embiid, Paul George need to play on Monday against the Clippers.
Yes.
Please.
Right?
Please.
Are we right, Chet? Right?
I know there's been a lot of like, boy, it's fun watching the young guys play. And then you watch Quentin Grimes go 3 for 10 and have like 3 of the most ridiculous passes you've ever seen in the game. And frankly, he had a stretch of the game where I was like, man, Quentin has played pretty well. Like, this is shaping up to be a pretty good game for him. But one of the keys against this Detroit team specifically, when you play a switch everything style, we're going to toggle through these lineups and rotations, and we'll take our chances with any guy on any assignment here. When you have the 7-foot matchup nightmare in the middle of the floor, if you switch with him or you put Beef Stew on him or you put Paul Reed on him, he's probably going to score a good amount of the time. And if he's not, he's drawing 2 and he's getting an open catch and shoot 3 from Maxey so that Maxey's not taking these ridiculous 17-foot runners and he's in a rhythm. He's taking rhythm shots, catch and shoot shots. He's building some momentum that is not caused by him trying to take ridiculous pull-up shots and just off the dribble jumpers that largely are going to have a low percentage, right? So Joel Embiid's very important. But Paul George is important too, especially if Kelly Oubre misses time. And we don't know the prognosis for Kelly yet. He obviously has they labeled it a hyperextension, and he was ruled out for the game after halftime. That's not a good sign. He's a durable player. He's also a tough player. He's someone that if he was available and felt good to play, he would have been back out there. If Kelly is out of the rotation for any amount of time, 1 game, 2 games, God forbid it's like a longer period, they need Paul George badly because you cannot rely solely on Justin Edwards, who, by the way, shot the ball again tonight, looked pretty good on offense. You can't rely just on him, who's only just getting back into form. for your wing minutes. It's just not feasible.
And as we learned last year, a lot of times when you see a hyperextension, the first place you go is, okay, is there any bruising? Is there a bone bruise associated with that? We won't know until they get tests, obviously, as Kyle is struggling over there. But that is the biggest fear, so we'll wait and see for more information on that. And yeah, I mean, look, saying they need Joel Embiid and Paul George is pretty obvious. But when you look at and it's one thing we were talking about with Maxey, it's like part of the reason you need him to be almost superhuman is when you look at some of the rest of the lineups on here, and even in the starting lineup, you've got Watford, who's done pretty much nothing since that triple-double. Drummond, who's just not all that much of an offensive threat. Kelly Oubre, who hasn't made a three-point shot in about a week and a half, it feels like. And VJ, who before tonight was really struggling from the perimeter as well. And even off the bench, outside of Grimes, who had a bad game, you've got Walker, you've got Barlow, and you've got Bona, who are pretty much not, non-factors offensively. There's just not a lot of creation when you have 4 of your top 6 players out of the lineup. And I'm going to throw Jared McCain in there as well, or 3 of your top 6 out of the lineup.
I'm not calling him that the way he has looked.
Based on what you expected coming
based
into
on
the
expectations,
season.
yes. Based on current
No, it'll take
state.
some time for him to get back to that level, which is why he's in the G League right now. They just need more offensive firepower. And yeah, Joel Embiid and Paul George are really good at basketball. Even still to this day, I know some people will push back on that with Paul George. I get the durability as a concern, but their two-way play is excellent and really stabilizing. And I think that's one thing you saw tonight.
I need them to play on Monday. If Embiid,
I need Paul to play specifically.
So
Embiid,
I was going to say,
about
if Embiid's knee is still bothering him for this latest, update on his right knee now, not his left knee, then okay, I get it. And Drummond has been playing okay, outside of a few WTF moments tonight, which we can talk about. I couldn't clip those, everybody, but we can talk about them for the WTF moments of the night because we can explain them, and you all saw them. Paul George has to play on Monday against the Clippers. He has to, especially with now.
I'm
Kelly
done with
Oubre
the ramp.
out.
I'm done with the final step.
He has to start throwing
Get
money
on the
in
floor,
the jar
buddy.
now if he's not playing on. Now it's just that you got to, every time you miss a game, you got to put $5 in the jar now because this is, come on. Yeah,
I mean,
we need him back.
Devon said we need donations for every missed game.
He needs to, no, he can't do that because there's too much going on right now in the NBA with that stuff. Let me retract all of that. He needs to play on Monday against the Clippers. And look, they have a back-to-back on Wednesday and Thursday. He'll have some time off between from Monday and with the Tuesday off. Play Wednesday or Thursday, whatever one it is. But he needs to play on Monday to get out there. If Oubre is out, it's good to see Justin Edwards make shots. Trendon Watford is struggling, but you need to have somebody else out there because where else are they going to go now for that wing position on the bench? Outside of Walker and Barlow doing their thing, they really need him back. And so they need both of them. They're both good at basketball. They need them back. And Monday, I would like to see Paul George out there on the floor.
Enough is enough.
Okay.
That's what it comes down to. With Joel, again, we know his history, the track record, and if he says his knee doesn't feel right, I don't care that they said no structural damage. I tend to believe him. So I have a little more grace for him if he misses Monday's game, although I would very much like him to play. Paul George, I need you on the floor, brother. Your knee has checked out fine. You saw the doctors. You have enough time to strengthen that quadricep. Get on out there. I don't care if it's for 15 minutes. I hope it's more than 15 minutes after all the ramping up we've done here. But please play on Monday.
And again, their explanation for why he's not playing yet is they want to build up the muscles around to better support the injury so he doesn't re-injure it. I don't know what another week of strength and conditioning is really going to do when he's been playing basketball for 6 weeks now, but we'll see.
That was Tuesday when they gave that update. So we'll see. By the way, Jeff Stewart says PG means Paul's grounded. That was the big takeaway. It's presented by Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com.
As in he can't get off the ground, or as in he got sent to his room for misbehaving?
He's stuck to the bench. That's what it means, I guess. All right. The player of the game, let's give that one to. People have talked about what the big takeaway should be, but we gave him the player of the game, which means we'll talk about Dominick Barlow in his
Great return.
10 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He knocked down 2 of his 3 3-point attempts, and he was fantastic tonight in a role where he was thrust into extra minutes because of the Kelly Oubre injury. And I would also say because of Trendon Watford not playing well, he played 28 minutes and 56 seconds. The elbow is healed. It was good to have him back out there on the floor. The ball just finds him when he's out there. It just finds him. He, of course, gives the effort. He had a rebound over, I think it was Karis LeVert, where you were like, he just wanted it more. Yeah. Oh, no, it was Ron
He just
Holland.
went and took it.
And he took that one over. And then there was another one. There was a bad shot. It hit off the backboard, Derek. It was a brick. But he was in the right spot where the ball just ricocheted to him. He's always in the right place at the right time.
Ball finds energy. It is, I mean, look, he is, I think for the most part, one of the things that really frustrated me in the first half was that Sixers were just over-helping like crazy and giving up way too many open threes. Like Detroit should not have been able to generate as many open threes as they were able to get. No. And I think part of that was schematics. And like Nick likes to play this super aggressive, lots of helping, help and recover. And the Sixers just don't, they have some athletes that can do that. A lot of times they've been out of position. I feel like especially with Watford, like Watford has got to, you've got to adjust your scheme because he is not helping and recovering. He is not getting back out.
He might help.
Yeah, he's not getting back out
the
to that
recovery
three-point
part
line.
on the
It's
other
like last
hand.
year when we were watching people shoot over Kyle Lowry. It's like you can't play that scheme with 37-year-old Kyle Lowry. Anyway, Barlow is one of those that really can. Like he can help down on a driver, get back out to the three-point line and contest. You can play that hyper-aggressive, I'm going to try to force a turnover and not give up too many open threes defense that Nick loves to play. And I think when you finally get one of those pieces that can execute that, all of a sudden he looks really, really good. And you combine that with the rebounding on both ends of the floor, the activity, getting out in transition. He even made a corner 3 today. He was really, and he's been good in pretty much every preseason game and the 2 regular season games he played up to this point. It's just nice to have a little bit of energy. And especially if we do have a couple of games here without Kelly in the lineup, him finally being back and being able to take, obviously not Kelly's exact role, but some of that defensive playmaking will be great to add.
The fact that he was able to come back and play close to 29 minutes tonight really makes me turn a side eye at some other players who come back. And it's like, boy, they've had the whole offseason to get ready and it's quite a bit of time. And it's like, got to hold them to a 15-minute restriction or whatever. He just came back and played basketball. And I absolutely love, the ball finds him, but he also goes and gets it, right?
Yes,
he is going over people. He's going around people. He reads the ball well coming off the rim as well. It's an underrated skill that, it's part of why Jokic, despite the fact that he doesn't jump over a phone book, on top of being huge, is a great rebounder because as the shot is in midair, he is getting himself into position. Like, okay, if the three is being taken from there and it looks like it's going to hit the backside of the rim, I got to get to this spot. Barlow does some of that, but even when he's not in the good initial position, he's light enough on his feet that he will go and attack through space and has secure hands. On top of the rebounding, the play tonight that Detroit had the successful challenge where it looked like Barlow got fouled and ended up it was swatted out of his hands, a good defensive play. It goes out of bounds on him. But Quentin Grimes threw a ball behind him in transition when that's a big dude moving down the floor. He just very casually catches it and turns that into a potential layup attempt. So the hands help him a lot as well. I just love the consistent energy that he's playing with, including tonight in a spot where we came in thinking, what is he going to give him? 15 minutes? Maybe if you're lucky, you get 20 minutes. You play him at the 4, you play him at the 5. He was a massive positive in that game. They won his minutes pretty comfortably. And plus minus is what it is, right? It's not doesn't tell the story a lot of the time. Tonight it felt very indicative of when he was on the floor, they played their best basketball. So he deserved the player of the game, and I think he has a lot to be happy about. I think, frankly, if Oubre is out and Paul George comes back and Paul George takes that starting spot.
And the way Watford played tonight?
Yes, I think there is a clear case Dominick Barlow starts on Monday against the Los Angeles Clippers.
I'll also point out that block that he had. He made one really bad pass where it was like, what are you doing? But he didn't give up. He got back into play and Ron Holland tried to dunk, I believe it was, and he pinned it, and it was a really, really good play that you love to see, just not giving up. So big fan of that guy. Again, I'll just point out that when Kyle was talking to us about this possibly being a signing that they would have in the summer, I was like, all right, whatever. Well, he needs to have that contract turned into a standard contract. And as I calculated it, as the guys were talking, he'll play his 50th game if he goes the rest of the way, since he missed those 9. San Antonio in March 3rd. So a long ways to go. But do they have to do it before that?
We're on the Derek Bodner,
Nope.
Joshua Harris
Okay,
luxury tax watch.
The deadline you're thinking of, someone has to be waived by March 1st to be
Got it.
playoff eligible, but he's on the team. He doesn't need to be waived.
Okay. All right. So March 3rd, San Antonio. That's his 50th game if he plays the rest of the way. And it's a long ways away.
It is a long way, but he, at the very least,
Walker
that guy is
earlier.
an every night rotation player
Yes, he is.
right now until proven otherwise, because he's been great.
And congrats to Josh Harris for not having to convert that contract until March.
Dominick Barlow, our player of the game tonight. WTF moment. We just simply pointed out 2 of them. Andre Drummond, the one double dribble where he had a great play. Great play. WTF moment of the night. We haven't done these a lot this season, but he had a great defensive
So I
play.
disagree with this one.
Nah,
You're gonna
man.
lay out. You're gonna make your case.
Yeah, great play. Give the ball up because you're at half court after you make the steal. Yes. Give the ball up to get it back, to be rewarded for the great defensive play that you had. Double dribble where he picked it up, put it back
He
down.
scored. He stole the ball and scored. I don't have any problem
If you
with that.
don't care about the rules, he scored.
He scored. What's the problem? There's no problem.
The double dribble. That's where the problem
Uncalled. Who cares?
Can't do that. That's why you got to get the ball up to be rewarded to get it back for the great play.
It was a great defensive play. He really does have some quick defensive
Yes, he
hands
does.
that you don't expect for a guy who is a pretty plodding big. But yeah, give the ball up.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen VJ dunk it and dribble it, obviously, but he stole the ball and scored. I'm never going to be mad at him. I would have been mad if he turned it over. So that's why I agree with you. But
turned it over.
he scored.
He turned it
No,
over.
he didn't.
He didn't live action turn it over. He turned it over by double dribbling.
They didn't call it.
What was
Who
the call?
cares? He scored 2 points.
They didn't give him that. They
They did
called
not
that.
blow
They
it
did-
dead.
they
What
did-
are you talking
They
about?
did blow it dead.
They blew it
100%
dead.
No, they
blew
fuck-
it dead.
No, they did not.
They did.
I don't know what game you guys watched because that did not
They
happen.
100% called it because
I'm going back to the play-by-play. They did not
So
call
as
that
you guys
dead.
know, when you double dribble, if you get a steal like that, if it's a live dribble, you can't pick it up and put it down, which is I don't like the rule, but you can't pick it up and put it down. If the ball is still live, you have to dribble it and keep going because of what he did. He picked it up, and they called double dribble on that one. That's what I thought I saw. It was the double dribble that they called on that play. Great defensive play. I wanted him to give it up to Edgecombe so he can give it back, and I thought they called it right there. So the other one I can't remember now because we were going back and forth about this one. But Andre Drummond has been playing some great basketball, and he has been fantastic aside from those 2 plays that happened there. With that, let's tell everybody that we're going into OT right now, everybody on the post-game show. Thank you, everybody on the television side. All week long, we'll see you back here for pregame on Monday. Head over to allphly.com for the remainder of the show, and then, of course, for the roll call as well. So,
Drummond double dribble turnover, 7:50 third quarter.
It was not clear on the broadcast that they called it. So I'm very confused that happened. I have to concede that you guys are right. They finished the whole play.
no, they finished the play.
That's what I like.
But they blew the whistle. He finished the play through the whistle. And
Duncan Robinson finished the play too. So nobody heard the whistle.
Right after, Drummond reacted like this. Like, what do you mean?
I don't understand.
But
that
you
one.
were also doing your. Make sure everybody heads to allphly.com for the post-game recap at allphly.com. Kyle put it together. Great as always. And I think you might have started typing like when it
I don't know.
when it
Well, you
happened.
were yelling about why did he do that, and I was like, whatever, he scored. That's why I was confused about. Okay, now I understand why you were
Why
pissed.
should you do that? Give
All
the
right,
ball up so you can
we
get it
come to a
back.
consensus. Andre, give the ball.
And I'll give you this one too. Kyle did say VJ told him no, go ahead and score.
And that's like, again, he's already at the basket at that point.
Yes.
So how was VJ directing traffic if they called a double dribble that happened at half court?
because they just
What,
played
like,
through the whistle, didn't hear
Bill
it.
Kennedy, get a stronger whistle.
By the way, Bill Kennedy, best on the replays, on the challenges. Bill Kennedy is the best when he's out there. Oh, good stuff.
Well, that was one of the only things that he did well tonight. I thought that officiating crew.
No, the crew was bad.
was real bad.
Yeah.
No, I like Bill Kennedy
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
especially the challenges, but some of the stuff they were calling versus not calling. Credit to Detroit, they play very physical, but if you let them play very physical, you got to let that happen
No doubt.
on both ends.
No
So.
doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
I really feel like I watched a different game now that happened. I have to rewatch the whole game and say,
Well, when you were like, who cares he scored? Like, I thought you were almost joking about him scoring after the whistle.
I genuinely, I finished the play and they moved on, and it never registered that was called for
Yeah.
me. So
All right, let's get to the super chats, everybody. Let's go to
that's why I was so
It-
goddamn
it is-
confused.
it is a good
Like, what
point.
the fuck are you talking about? You didn't
Kyle
double
is
dribble.
demonstrating a good life lesson, though. If you just act confidently, people will believe you. Because I started second guessing myself.
Well, that's why I went and checked. I was like, how many turnovers did he have? I know he had a bad pass turnover. I know he had this one. Like,
Yeah.
where is it? Anyway.
Hey,
It's also an important lesson. You can admit when you're wrong. I just had to find that it actually happened. I wasn't convinced that was the reality this took place.
Devon and I look at it, I was like, are we crazy? We're not crazy, are we?
The chat is like, yeah, let's call him double dribble. All right, well, let's get to the super chats here. It's not a lie if you
That would have
believe
been a difference-making play by Andre Drummond.
if you believe it. Bernard, Bree, take over the show. Yeah, read the super chats.
All right, Bernard says, B-Ball's game has a lot of issues, but his defense is above average. I would rather have him over Drum and Bona combined. Tired of both of these guys.
He needed to change the scenery.
Well-
Paul Reed did.
I think so, too.
Yeah,
I think a couple
I
things.
like Paul Reed, but he needed to change the scenery.
First of all, they weren't going to keep him on that $9 million salary.
Yeah.
And second of all, like it was, I think he was maybe the player who was hurt the most by James Harden leaving. Like
Yeah.
James Harden
Yes.
put him in a spot where in that short role he could be effective.
Yeah.
And you limited his decision making. But defensively, I was always a pretty big Paul Reed fan. And I know at times I have called him the best backup center of the Joel Embiid era. And it's because of that switchability on defense. He's just so inconsistent. Like his decision making is so, it goes from great to problematic, a little bit like Quentin Grimes at times. But his decision making, I think, drives coaches nuts. And I get it. He's probably the most physically talented in terms of just being like, versatile defensively. But man, he can make some head scratchers.
Again, landed in the right spot. Coach worked him. He was on a prove it contract, and he earned it. And I'm happy that he did that. We saw again. We talked about the 28 and 13 that he had on Wednesday in their win. Tonight he wasn't as successful, but he still made some plays tonight. And he needed to change the scenery. He got it, and he's in a pretty good spot right now.
This is, unlike Doc Rivers saying back today, this is a Paul Reed victory tour.
Yes.
He was always good enough to be the backup center. It's just the $9 million was a bit pricey for him. So I thought tonight he was fairly restrained too.
Yeah, he didn't play the game.
Just
I
the
expected
numbers
him to.
weren't as
Yeah.
gaudy as they were on Wednesday.
I would have thought coming off of the huge game that this was going to be like Paul takes 15 shots and goes a little bit crazy against, but he played basically
Remember
the perfect
that three
game in that spot.
in the corner where we were like, Paul's going to take it, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Sixers Paul Reed would have taken
Good
that
game
shot.
by Paul Reed.
Yeah.
Very, very funny character to cover. He's one of those, though, I will say, he ended up in the Mike Scott zone. I enjoyed covering Mike Scott, too. But once Paul figured out what made people laugh, he did a little bit of too much playing the hits. It was like, I know this is going to land and make people laugh. So He's a funny character,
He
good
is.
basketball player.
Really good guy.
Glad to see him succeed.
Really good guy.
Every time he came to the podium, Mike check. He loved that.
Really good guy. And it's funny, too, because he got comfortable finally and behind the microphone where for a while he wasn't as comfortable.
You know who's improved a lot? Justin's gotten a lot better. He's still
Justin
short
was
with his
definitely
answers,
seemed nervous a little bit
Yeah.
at times early last season, but you get the standard NBA contract, you get the confidence, and it all starts. So, yeah. There's something to that, right? You're confident in your place in the league and the team. Makes it easier to talk to the media, deal with all the other nonsense around the league. So,
is Paul still selling hoodies? Or is he giving that up?
it's a great question.
I
haven't kept up with the
I
Paul
hope he got a
Reed side
management
hustle.
company at least, because he was like delivering his own hoodies for a while, and you've got too much going on for that.
Well, he had a manager,
Did-
and he handled a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Good.
Yep.
Shout out to Paul Reed.
Yes. By the way, you mentioned Justin Edwards tonight, 17 minutes. He was 4 for 7 from the floor, 3 for 6 from 3 for 13 points tonight. Got to the free throw line twice, made those as well. Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beast, number 5, turned Rozier trying to make money back from negotiations. Davon, a.k.a.
I am not going to
Schoolboy
say
Beast.
make those accusations on this show.
No.
Quentin Grimes had a night.
He did have a night.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Also, Davon with another one. Adem Roberto Duran, nickname Bona.
Hands of stone.
I was going to
baby.
say, I know he's a boxer, so it's got to be something.
Well,
hands.
so he was one of the most revered fighters of his time. And then he's most famous for he retreated to the corner and said, no mas, because he couldn't take a beating anymore. And that is his legacy. But Hands of Stone was his nickname because he used to beat the fuck out of people.
Just not Chin of Stone.
Well, he didn't get knocked out in the fight where no mas happened. But yeah, it's weird because he's still, if you just go by the rest of his career, he had this incredible boxing career. But that's all people remember him for now. Like, the sands of time have washed away all his wins and his knockouts, and it's pretty unfortunate. He fought 119 professional fights. 70 he won by knockout. 103 he won, 16 losses. And all everyone remembers is no mas.
Yep.
That's tough.
All right, everybody. Four-game work week for the Sixers next week, starting on Monday with the Los Angeles Clippers, James Harden in town. That's a 7 o'clock start, so our pregame with Rich and Bree will be at 6:30. We'll be here with you to get started. Then they have a back-to-back Wednesday, Thursday, home away. Toronto Raptors back in town again. And then they hit the road to take on Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. That's an 8 o'clock start on that Thursday night. Friday, Saturday, we are off, back for a 1 o'clock, a matinee against the Miami Heat at home on Sunday
Which is a
afternoon.
surprisingly tough game based on how the Heat have started. We would have come into the year thinking, but those Miami Heat, they're pesky.
Yes, they are. And they competed tonight with the Knicks. No Bam in the lineup, but they are pretty good, and Norm Powell looks better than Bradley Beal at this stage of the season. So, all right, we'll be back on Monday, 6:30 for the pregame, everybody. Busy week for us as we have 4 games. We'll be with you the entire way. We hope that you are with us through the entire way. You know where we are. So let's get to it. It's time for the world-famous end of the week roll call.
If I'm shouting out Roberto Duran, we got to shout out Sugar Ray Leonard, who made him tuck tail and hide in the corner. So shout out to Sugar Ray Leonard to start off roll call tonight. One of the greatest boxers in the history of the sport. Thank you also to all our wonderful listeners who were here tonight. I would like to see some more thumbs ups and likes on this video.
What are we doing, everybody? Let's get those numbers up.
Get those likes up. It helps me
out.
sleep at night. It makes these guys feel good. It's a thank you to super producer Bree, who's dealing with me having a hallucination in the middle of a game and thinking Andre Drummond actually did score those 2 points. There was no double dribble. That never happened. I was about to use a term that I'll say to you guys after the show because I don't want to get in trouble. Thank you to F. Chillaxing. Thank you to Grump856, to Sir Shmooey.
What up, Grump?
Ramid, Philly J, Freddie Powell, Prophet One, Reza, Brandon Schaefer, Robert S. Downs. Here's a funny one. Pooh Ragu.
That's what the second half looks like.
That certainly was the second half of this game. Kima, Ray Philly Fly, who seemed to be having a good time in the chat tonight.
What up, Ray?
On the move right now.
Friday night.
Ray's having a good time. Shout out to Ray. William, Mighty Mouse, Phil W., who was upset tonight, not just because of the Kelly Oubre injury, was not happy with that Sixers loss. Phil, we're with you.
Yes.
Sean Ford, X-Man, PHLY guy.
Win.
Don Juan, 3,900.
What up, Don Juan?
Alden Network. Winona, my girl, what's up? Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy
Nona.
Beats with the Super Chats. Bernard had another Super Chat, I believe. Thank you to
sir.
Bernard for that. Joaquin from Cherry Hill. Constantine. 3-on-3 Kurt, who was a Pistons fan checking in, who also was respectful. We love when people come in, they poke a little fun, and hey, the Pistons are good. Your team lost, Kurt. But also not being problematic. So
just
shout
be
out
better
to Kurt.
than Denver. That's all we ask.
Thank you to Kurt for coming through. You can come by anytime as long as you act like you did tonight. Vic, Satirical Zero, Rich P, CJ
What
Jones,
up, Rich?
Tom Jackson, I Gavini,
Tommy.
Philly Bull, Rodem, I think.
Yeah.
I'm getting that right. I'm making sure that I didn't write that down
What up,
wrong
Rodem?
or get auto-corrected the way I do with Smoggy, a.k.a. Smog.
What up, Smoggy?
So shout out to Rodem. Shout out to Philly 007, Theo. Brett Brown in the house tonight, fellas.
What up, Brett?
Darlin, Senorito, Ash,
Senorito.
SB Cole, Glenn A, Jeffrey Stewart, Music Lover 31. Thank you, everybody. And of course, Mom's grandchildren. What's up to Mom? Jess, Val, Rich P, all the homies who are in here tonight.
We also let everybody know, Reading Terminal coming up, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Thanksgiving Eve, right?
Yes.
Thanksgiving Eve, we are going to be live and in person at the Reading Terminal Market for a day of shows. The whole company will be there. I don't know if we're scheduled to have it. We're off. But I think I will be there.
I'll show up.
Reading Terminal Market is one of my favorite places in all of Philadelphia and probably the world, honestly. I love it deep in my bones.
Get some food for Thanksgiving like this.
So we'll be hanging out at Reading Terminal Market Thanksgiving
Gene
Eve.
says I could eat.
If you guys are going to be in town for any reason, you want to stop by, say hello, hang out. We'd love to see you guys. Love to have you guys stop by, see the show, see all the production, whatnot. Until then, until Monday, until the Clippers game, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. Hit that thumbs up button, as I already told you. And stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.